What is up, T2 brothers? This is the T2 Diabetes Brotherhood. And nothing ever that I do really has any scripts. This one is no exception. But I kind of wanted to touch bases and just talk like a brother, like real me, like a real person, which seems like it's hard to find on the internet nowadays. But I wanted to fill you in that I'm sure some of you are aware that I had a channel. I still have a channel called the T2, the Diabetes Guy. And I pretty much quit doing lives. Pretty much, I think I've just quit making videos in general on there. On the fact that it just didn't seem understood or appreciated. And I think what we've done is I've given information on how to put type 2 diabetes in remission all the way for free. And usually when something's given for free, it doesn't really have much value to it. So I don't think people took it too serious. It was very painful. I felt like I was abandoning like family. Like I really got emotional about it. I don't know why. Other than I guess I really do genuinely care about people. But the problem is most people don't really care about themselves. I think is when you contract type 2 diabetes, it's a very serious, life position to be in, but I don't think people know what the weight of that is. So I'm not here to complain about all that. It's just to inform you, if any of you came from there, that show's pretty much over. And what I'm doing is I'm switching gears, and I'm looking not out of desperation, but out of excitement. And what I want to do is I want to instill in you guys that what I've discovered, what I've been building on this type 2 diabetes remission process, this protocol of mine, is something that's completely different. I haven't found anything out there like it. I wish that I had the information that I have now. Of course, we always say that. Like, I wish I knew then what I know now, if you go back to your younger self. But it took lots of months, years to get everything dialed in. And it feels like, there's always room for improvement, but it feels like I've got it almost like it's pretty much perfect. Like, I know for a fact that what I have achieved for myself, I can help others achieve. Now, I said I'm not coming out of desperation. I'm coming out of more excitement because I know it's possible for all of you, for those of you who choose to make a difference. So let me talk a little bit about why this is a precarious situation, why people should take it serious. Because I need to choose my words careful, but I don't care if they might just, this whole channel could get taken down. I don't know, but somebody has to come out and just say it. But a lot of the supplementation that's out there in the mainstream to treat illnesses such as type 2 diabetes, it's not sustainable. What you're doing is you're just burying the problem. When I came across functional medicine about a decade ago, I like the way one guy explained it. He's like, you're walking around with a rock inside your shoe and your foot hurts. Well, conventionalism will prescribe you an aspirin and say, hey, well, this will take the pain away, but true people who really want to help you are going to do a full examination. And they may take your shoe off and figure, dude, you got a rock in your shoe. Let's take that out, and then you don't need the aspirins to solve the root problem. So taking such things, such supplemental things, literally all it does is deflect the sugars that are going in your body. So those of you who are on those type of things, and I'm talking even natural stuff like berberine, apple cider vinegar, it doesn't naturally just make your condition better. All it does is it takes from Peter to pay Paul. But you know how that goes. As you keep kicking the can down the road, eventually you're going to have to face the can. And that can means it's going to be full of shit. You're going to have high blood sugars. You're going to have weight gain. And this is how I know that most people's situations they're going to fail. It's not a matter of if, it's just when. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to push this off till tomorrow and make things worse? Or do I want to make things better? So I've been experimenting, to give this more context, with AMLA supplements. And I'm not against things like AMLA. I have noticed that my blood sugars have been going down, especially my fasting blood sugars. But the problem is it doesn't fix the problem. All it does is slow things down. Like this whole thing. This is why I say I'm in something that's completely different. It's important the order in which you eat. Eat lots of fiber and even proteins and fats, because they will slow down the absorption of sugar, or things that convert to sugar. I find this to be a crock of shit too, because it's the same thing. You're slowing down. It's actually in the message. You're slowing it down. You're not getting rid of it. It doesn't mean that you can eat, with something full of fiber, some psyllium husk, right? A bunch of celery, right? A bunch of fibrous, some grains loaded with fiber. And then go ahead and eat a donut. That doesn't magically, I'm here to appeal to your intelligence, I think. Intellectually, does that make sense? Wearing a continuous glucose monitor, a means of measuring my blood sugars for, a few years now, I've done lots of experiments, and I've seen long-term what happens with things like this. I just haven't showed it publicly. I've got it all documented. I mean, I've shown some stuff in my shorts and things like that, but I have blood labs, and in fact, I'm going to go for new blood labs here this month to get my new A1C and all that checked out. But to appeal to your intelligence, it's right there in the framing of the phrases. It slows down the absorption. It doesn't magically make it disappear. So I'm here too, not to create fear-based, but the reason I want to voice this out is that I am in contact with people who have done many different diets. I know a few that are on keto. I know one that's on Mediterranean. I know one that's been on carnivore for a long time. And what every single one of these people are experiencing is, I forgot to leave out, vegetarian or veganism. All of these people are experiencing ailments, not enough nutrition. They can't really put their finger on it because they're not really, I think, thinking in this in clear depth. They're locked into a food religion, and they're defending it, and they should. And it works at first until it doesn't, But every single one of these people are experiencing health issues now, and some of them we're not talking like a couple months, a year. We're talking years. Fat stalled. Some are gaining weight. Some can't lose weight. Some are experiencing higher blood sugars. Let me fill you in why I think this is so, why I know it's so. People on the keto and carnivore diets are possibly, and this doesn't go for everybody. This is why people would need another set of eyes, someone to pretty much coach them. But my experience has been overconsumption of protein, for those of you who don't know, actually converts to sugars. Everything you eat really converts to sugars. Well, not everything, but the majority of your stuff needs to be converted to energy. Where do we get energy? We get energy from sugars. It's just that protein takes a long route to get there. So what have I experienced myself, why I know this is true, is because I was consuming, amounts of like 300 grams of protein per day plus. And it wasn't really bothering me too much. It still was becoming an issue, but I was doing calisthenics, I was lifting weights, I was going to the gym, so I was burning up that fuel. But if you're not burning that fuel, it starts to store up, it starts to catch up eventually. One thing that frightens me is the amount of fats that people are saying to eat. I don't want to mention any names of some of these content creators because they're like me, they're trying to build a name for themselves. But again, I just want to appeal to your intelligence. Where these people come from is saying that we should eat like our ancestors. And I'm not bashing the carnivore diet. I think there's parts of it that work. My diet is mostly carnivore. But when you think intelligently about fat intake, the carnivores are coming and saying that if you can't shit right, you need more fat to lubricate the system. And I agree with a certain amount, but a whole entire stick of butter, just slathering your eggs in beef tallow, 5 tablespoons or whatever people do, it doesn't really coincide with what our ancestors actually did. And it depends geographically where you're located, of course. But most of the time, if you look at wild game has not much fat on it. And, again, geographically, if you're in Antarctica or Alaska, there's whale blubber and stuff like that. But for the most of us, like the Plains Indians, I live in Southern California. There's rabbit, deer, there's no elk. But you go and catch yourself a deer, and you're not going to have tons of fat. It just doesn't happen in nature. And a lot of these carnivores are just like hammering it down, like eat like our ancestors. Carbs are bad. Carbs don't happen in nature. Yeah, they kind of do, depending on geographically where you're located. So I'm not here to bash one thing or the other. I just want to bring some common sense to the issues to show you that, if you really think about it and you do your research like I've done, the Plains Indians, the Indians of Southern California lived off a lot of plant material. They pretty much, they ate whatever they can find. And I'm not saying that a high carb diet is it. In fact, I choose to take a moderate, slow to lower carb diet. So take that in consideration. One of the things that's not sustainable as well in all these secular, separated diets is that people are just getting depressed. They're getting flat out bored. They want variety. And the cool thing I didn't really realize when I started out was that I never really bought into one cult, one club, one group, one religion of food. I'm after data, not belonging to something. It has to make sense. And I had to test everything out. And an interesting thing I found was that not only was my diet exciting and the food I chose to eat there was plenty of variety, and it kept me from being bored. It was a celebration, but it also helped me excel to lower my blood sugars. Interesting enough, once I introduced fruit, not lots of it. Again, this is quantity, and everybody's individuality, is just that, you're individual. But I had great success. And guys, I've been doing this since 2023. I think one of the problems we have in our society, in our food, is nutrient density. I think that a lot of people, I know this is it, is that a lot of people aren't starving for more food, because if you put another steak in front of them, they're like, well, I'm full, I don't want to eat. That means you're not hungry. But what the body is signaling, and this is what I'm portraying here, is that the body is not starving for more mass, more filler. It's starving for nutrition. And that's a key factor, I think, that whether you're vegan, keto, carnivore, that's why it's not sustainable. You're only getting a certain amount of nutrition, not a well-balanced, round, full spectrum. And think about this, if this makes sense, and maybe somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but when you have a body full of all the nutrients it needs, the immune system is boosted up, its functionality is tip-top. And I believe this is why, possibly not the sole contributor, but a big factor is that a body with low nutrition can be more susceptible to contracting a sort of thing as type 2 diabetes. And again, I think it's dietary. I think it's the chemicals in foods. There's many different factors that come in. But a truly, truly healthy body goes in the works of, like me, one of my passions is studying survivalism. Like, I love to find plants and identify them, edible stuff, hunt and fish and things of that nature, provide for myself. And one of the things that the laws of nature is everything wants to live. It'll do whatever it can. Like, for instance, if you find a medicinal plant in a shady area of the forest, it'll be luscious green and tall and tender. And it might even taste a lot better in contrast to a plant that grew on the sunny side with no shade, which is denser, smaller, more fibrous, more tougher. It had to fight to live, but it regulated itself for survivalism. And I'll tell you what, that plant is going to be way more potent in those medicinal values than the pansy shaded one that's been nurtured its whole entire life. This is the same analogy we can use for our bodies. So a lot needs to be done. A lot needs to be said. Many of you, unfortunately, I think, are going to fail. And some of you, it just takes the long game. You need to learn to read these signals. You need to stop guessing and going in blindly. Someone brought to my attention, too, that a lot of these content creators are flat out lying. You know, one of them, I'm not going to mention his face. I know he's probably a whiskey drinker. He's just beet red. That's a sign of drinking alcohol. And this guy, he's a doctor. But some of these people who claim that they're vegan or carnivore could quite possibly be eating and supplementing things besides the diet that they're proclaiming to eat. Because at some point, things catch up with you. So there's many, many ways that I think many of you are going to fail without learning how to navigate, what to look for, how to read the signals, how to test for vitamin deficiencies. Many people are just going blindly at it, hoping for the best. You know, I've said this before, is like, if you're not wearing a continuous glucose monitor measuring your blood sugars, it's like you driving a car with a steering wheel, gas pedal, and a brake, but no dashboard. There's no warning lights, there's no fuel levels, there's no nothing to show you. Also, you have to dip the dipstick to find out what the oil level is at. You need to find out how dirty the oil is. This signifies a blood test. What kind of blood test? Now, I was told that they didn't exist from the, let's just call them the conventionalists. It wasn't until I took an unconventional approach to find out, well, they told me it didn't exist, but it actually exists, where they can show you a lot of your nutrient values in your blood. And you also need to know how to read these things. And I think that we overreact. We need to learn when to just leave things alone, when to add things. This might sound silly, but most of the work that I've done for myself, what I had to learn is stop yanking all the levers and changing things up, because you can never get a hold on something, right? Everything's just mixed matched. There's a time to make movement, a time to just let things rest, to see how well they work. Give it time. And as with anything built in this world that lasts, that has true value, it took time, it took nurture for it to develop. It took failures. That's what I feel I've developed here, is a whole entire program that doesn't tell you what to do, to teach you, to make myself redundant, to teach you how to pull those levers, how to read the signals in your body. This is way more important than telling you what to eat, telling you how to exercise. All of this stuff is not sustainable. It'll work at first, but it doesn't work in the long game. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to spend years trying to figure this out? Or would you rather learn really quickly from somebody who spent thousands of dollars, thousands, not hundreds, thousands of hours of interpreting his own signals, his own body, blood sugar data, blood labs data. Someone who can expedite that so you can get on with your bad self, especially for you busy folks. So again, this is not coming out of desperation. This is coming out of goodwill to tell you that I'm patient as fuck, and I'll be here for when the time comes when you need me. And I don't really need to be doing what I'm doing. I can figure other things out. I just think that what a wonderful way to support me and my special needs daughter by helping people like you to do this sort of thing. I think it would be way cooler than putting roofs on, maintaining a construction business. This is something I was built for, I think. And I've pretty much got it almost figured out. And you know what? This is not a sales pitch. I'm not trying to sell you anything other than I know for a fact that I can make this work for you. I just need somebody serious. I need my first... I've helped people. They've told me, one of you guys probably watching this right now, and please put it in the comments, because people, why should they listen to a guy like me? A lot of you have already told me that I've changed your life. Some of you told me that I've saved your life. I've had doctors, I've had nurses tell me that everything that I am saying is pretty much true. They completely are in agreement with it. So what I'm looking for is somebody to work with. I'm only going to open up one slot. I'm not going to open up 10. I'm not going to open up 5. I don't even think I even want to open up 2. I want to pick one person willing to go through this. Someone who's fucking serious. Because I need a testimonial. I need to show people outside of the conversations we've had on the internet. I need to document this like I've documented myself. So that's where I win, is I get that documentation for something I know 1,000% is going to help you out. And here's what I'm willing to do. You're going to have to fill out a questionnaire. You're going to have to message me. I will send you out that questionnaire. If you don't fill out the questionnaire, then I'm not willing to work with you. Period. If you're not going to put the time in, plus I need that data. I need to understand where you're at so that I can help you correctly. And what we'll do is I will offer at no charge a 20-minute phone call, which probably will end up being more like an hour, but we'll do this for you, is I want to answer the biggest question that you have about type 2 diabetes, about your situation. I want to solve that problem for you. And if it's a fit, if it clicks, if I can convey the 1,000% belief that I can help you forever, not just a little diet thing you do once and then go back to your regular. If that's what you think is a quick fix, you might as well not even message me. But I can equip you with the knowledge and the insight to help yourself to figure this out, because nobody can be there to tell you what to do, right? 100%. Nobody could follow you around 24/7. That's exactly what you kind of need to have. You need another set of eyes to follow up with you, to teach you. And I can't be there either, but I need to share with you, train you to know what markers to look for. And once you get it, you'll never unget it again. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what I'm proposing to do, and I'll just be flat out here, is I'm going to charge, I haven't figured this out yet, but probably at least $100. I'm leaning more towards $500. And this is going to be just a deposit, because I need to know you're serious. Because if you're not, and you waste my time, then you wasted my time. But what I will do, and this is a good Annie, because this is what's going to keep somebody, I think, motivated, is that once you complete this, and once we get this done, I will give you that money back, because it's worth it for me. I've got a testimonial. Now, I need your consent to be able to share your labs, to be able to share information about you, maybe even a before and after photo. It doesn't have to be your face, but your face, you coming live, coming on a video with me would definitely help. So if you're interested in this one slot, this run that I'm doing, and this is not going to happen forever. I may do this 2, 3, 4 times, and then that's it. In fact, it's going to go up to a few $1,000s because I need to make a living, and it's not really worth it. All the time that I put into this content, all the time that I would need to put for you individually. I mean, this is at least a 30-day program, I think, probably more. But at the end of this, you will understand everything that I've done. And not to say that everything that I've done is going to work for you. It's the principles. It's the layout. It's the understanding. I don't need to tell you exactly what to eat, when to exercise, and all that. I'm going to teach you how to develop that for yourself. So you're done with this type 2 diabetes business forever. Now, I can't guarantee. That's up to you, your level of involvement. I can't guarantee this is 100%. But I mean, I can't lie. I'm pretty confident. So take it up. Let me know. T2 Diabetes Brotherhood.